Hello everyone and welcome back to ARN-Engineering. Today I wanted to talk about linear algebra. So linear algebraic equations are the ones where the highest power of unknown terms is 1 and graphically they represent a straight line. So before I explain that further, I want to explain some important points that we need to know. Unknown terms can be defined as the terms in an equation that include a variable, and variables are generally shown with a letter. So it could be x, it could be a, it could be 2x, it could be 3a, etc. And we should also know that any number raised to the power of 1 equals to that number. So 2 to the power of 1 is equal to 2. Similarly, any number raised to the power of 0 is always equal to 1. So let's say an a, which can represent any number, can be written as a times x to the power of 0, which essentially is same as saying a times 1. So let's look at an example. In this example, we have the equation y equals x plus 1. We want to see if this is a linear equation or not. Okay, so based on the points that we discussed before, we can rewrite this equation as y to the power of 1, which is equal to y, equals to x to the power of 1 plus 1 times x to the power of 0. Again, x to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. So now we can identify the unknown terms. So they are the terms that include the variables. In this case, they are x to the power of 1, 1x to the power of 0, and y to the power of 1. And as you can see, the highest power of these unknown terms is 1. So we can say that this is a linear algebraic equation. Now, a common question that is usually asked is to solve a linear equation. Now, it is important to know what actually solving a linear equation means. So solving a linear equation, or basically solving any equation, it could be a quadratic equation, basically means to find out at what x values y has a value of 0. So what value can we assign to x, so then when we do the arithmetic we get a value of 0 for y. It can also be defined as what is the x-intercept of the equation. Don't worry, it will make sense soon when we go through some examples. So let's look at this graph. Now, algebraic equations, linear or not linear, they represent a graph. So they are a mathematical form of a graph. So if we look at this graph, we can see that at points that has been circled, the value of y is 0. So if we closely have a look at those areas, basically at any point where the graph or the equation intercepts the x-axis, the y value will automatically become 0, and we can call those x values the solution to that equation. So let's go through some examples. Let's try and solve y equals x plus 1, y equals 2x plus 1, and y equals 2x minus 1. Let's solve these while we keep in mind that solving an equation means to find out at what x values y has a value of 0. Okay, so as I said previously, solving an equation means finding at what x values y has a value of 0. So in order to find that, what we can do is assign a value of 0 to y and find the corresponding x values. So we can say x plus 1 in this case equal to 0, because we are assigning 0 to y. And then we rearrange this equation to leave the unknowns on one side, take 1 to the other side, that will become -1, and that's our solution. So let's graph this, and so we can understand it a bit better. So let's say that's our y-axis and that's our x-axis. In order to graph this, we can write the equation down here again, x plus 1, and then I make a table and assign different values to x and calculate the corresponding values of y. So let's say we assign -1 to x, we assign 0 to x, and we assign 1 to x. If we assign -1 to x, we will have -1 plus 1, which is 0, so y will be 0. If we assign 0 to x, y will be 1. If we assign 1 to x, y will be 2. Okay, and then we can go ahead and plot these points. So x is -1, that's -1, and y is 0. So that's our first point. When x is 0, y is 1. So that's our second point. And when x is 1, y is 2. So when x is 1, y is 2. So that's our third point. Okay, now we have more than enough points to draw a line, and we know it's a line because it's a linear equation, and we can further extend the line. So that's a line. That's our y equals x plus 1 line, right? So again, solving an equation means finding out at what x values y is 0. So we solved it and found out that x value is -1. So again, we can double check that here. That x value is -1, and as you can see, y is 0 at an x value of -1. Let's move on to the next equation. So we'll do the same thing. We assign a value of 0 to y. So we can rewrite this as 2x plus 1 equal to 0. Therefore 2x is equal to -1, and x is equal to -1 divided by 2. And that's our solution. So let's graph it again. So that's our y-axis, that's our x-axis. So let's write the equation here again. Y equals 2x plus 1. We'll construct our table. X, y, -1, 0, and 1. So if x is -1, this will be -2 plus 1 is -1. If x is 0, y will become 1. If x is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So let's graph this. -1 and 1. So -1, I'm sorry, and -1, right? So that's our first point. When x is 0, y is 1. So that's our second point. And when x is 1, y is 3. 1, 1, 2, and 3. And there we go. So now we can construct this line. So that's y equals 2x plus 1 line. As we can see, this point is an x value of -0.5, which is what we calculated previously. Alright, similarly, let's do the last example. So we'll do the same thing again. 2x minus 10 equals 0. We are assigning a value of 0 to y to find the corresponding x value. 2x is equal to 10 and x is equal to 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Let's graph this. Y, x. Our equation is y equals 2x minus 10. Let's construct our table. So we have x, we have y. -1, 0, and 1. So when x is -1, this is -2 minus 10, so that's -12. When x is 0, it's -10. When x is 1, it's 2 minus 10, which is -8. Right? Okay. So when x is -1, right, we have -12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's our first point. When x is 0, it's -10. That's our second point. And when x is 1, it's -8. -9, -8. And this is our third point. And if we continue this, we will find out that this is actually x equals 5, which is same as what we found previously. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.